Do our highly paid Premier League players really need a kicking coach? When Danny Ings scored with a scissor kick on his home debut for Aston Villa 2 weeks ago, analysis of his effort sparked a debate that revealed a sharp divide on one aspect of modern coaching. While Dean Smith paid tribute to Ings, the Villa manager was also quick to credit the work of his new set-piece coach Austin McPhee, who had apparently worked on the long throw-in and flick on that led to the goal. In the Match of the Day studio, while admitting that this particular set-piece appeared not the most complex, Gary Lineker and Jermaine Jenas agreed that the recruitment of specialist coaches could only benefit a side seeking the marginal improvements crucial to success. Danny Murphy, however, said any good coach should be capable of preparing a good set-piece. Further to that, with teams employing specialists in areas from ball striking to throw-ins and now even substitutions, our columnist wondered what work it left for established coaching staff. He goes further in today's Mail on Sunday, writing, "It smells like a box-ticking exercise. So is there a need for the specialists? Does a carefully schooled Premier League player really require advice on how to kick a football? What can elite coaches learn about free kicks that years of experience has not taught them? Well, quite a lot, if you were to listen to the arguments of the experts in question. Take, for example, Thomas Gronmark, the Danish throw-in coach who has trained Liverpool since 2018. I work with my first professional team in 2004, he says. For the last 17 years I have been concentrating on throw-ins every day. No assistant coach has a chance of getting near this knowledge. I'm not saying every team should have 10 specialist coaches. The best way to do it is to call in a specialist coach for one visit and see." One comment on social media said, "We already have surgeons, do we then need a brain surgeon?" It's true. Yes, a surgeon can do anything, but who would you prefer if you're the one lying there? It's just a way forward. Gronmark played youth football to a high level before embarking on an unlikely sporting career in which he represented Denmark as a track sprinter before finding his way onto the national bobsleigh team. Towards the end of his time as an athlete, he discovered an ability to perform unusually long throw-ins while playing a friendly game, which provided the spark for his current career. Combining in-person training with video analysis, today he claims to increase the typical distance of a player's throw-in by between 5 and 15 meters. Not only that, but, according to research by Tifo Football, Gronmark increased the percentage of throw-ins from which Liverpool retained possession after pressurized throw-ins from 45.4% to 68.4% in just one season, which at the time gave them the second highest ratio in Europe behind Midtjylland. Last season, meanwhile, Jurgen Klopp's side ranked among the top 4 Premier League clubs for both accurate throw-ins and throw-ins that led to successful passages of play. They also had comfortably the highest number of quick throws. Gronmark says a lot of his work goes unnoticed because it involves working on the subtleties of creating space when awarded an attacking throw-in and closing it down when defending one. But as our graphic below should illustrate, 2 good examples of the impact of his contribution can be seen in winning goals for Liverpool against Wolves and Tottenham 2 seasons ago. More recently, one of his former pupils, Mads Bech Sorensen, delivered the long throw-in that led to the second goal in Brentford's 2-0 win over Arsenal in the opening game of the Premier League season. Gronmark reports that Sorensen added 5.9 meters to his throw-in distance during their time together. I work with about 30 different technical elements to a throw-in, he says. Some players, for example, are standing still on the line. Some players have their feet too far away. Some players have a bad run-in. Some don't use their hips. There are just as many challenges as there are players. Gronmark has found that his work with Liverpool has made clubs more receptive to the prospect of hiring him. Bartek Silwestrak is a Polish ball-striking coach who has worked across Europe, taking in players in the top 2 divisions of English football. With the exception of a few clubs, he is surprised that they have not been more enthusiastic towards specialist coaches during his 11 years in the job. Given that already 9 years ago I was able to provide evidence of professional players' improvement, including goals scored, I definitely expected more open-mindedness, he says. And since ball striking at the top level is as generally poor as it is, I would have expected a different approach. Overall, there has not been that much willingness to invest in this additional type of training. Armed with a degree in sports science and a master's in sports psychology, as well as personal analysis and thousands of hours of his own practice, Silwestrak focuses on the art of shooting. In breaking down each element of a shot, he might ask a player to adjust the position of the standing foot, the leg swing, an area as complex as a golf swing, and upper body movement, as well as the angle and force with which the foot strikes the ball. He worked with Brentford and coaches at Midtjylland. John is a good example of a player with a well-developed topspin free kick, which allows you to hit the ball hard over the wall and bring it down quickly, says Solwestrak. This is the most effective technique to beat a wall, but, even in the Premier League, there are only a couple of players who use it. Kevin De Bruyne is one of them. He has a decent strike, but it could definitely be better. Solwestrak believes Premier League free kicks have much scope for improvement. 12 clubs failed to score directly from a free kick last season, while only 3, Southampton, Arsenal, and Leeds, did so more than once in the league. The most talented players hardly fare better. For all Cristiano Ronaldo's talent and persistence with free kicks, his success rate is low. In the past 5 league seasons, he has converted only 2 of 82 attempts. Solwestrak says he has been unable to solve technical problems in his swing. He keeps repeating the same errors. He could have beaten all the records for scoring from free kicks. But even a player of that technical and physical potential will not improve without technical input, or, at best, his progress will be limited. It's hard to improve without knowing what to do. Perhaps the most striking appointments have been Wimbledon's recruitment of a restarts coach and the addition of a substitutions specialist. To his knowledge, Granmark remains the only specialist throw-in coach. Villa's new recruit McPhee is not the only set-piece coach. Mads Butjereet, another who cut his teeth at Midtjylland, recently landed the role with Germany. Elsewhere, Brentford employ a consultant sleep coach. Smith says, people question bringing specialist coaches in, but they analyze everything to do with the opposition and your own team. They add data and you wouldn't know where to look for it. You need to do the basics first. But any little marginal gains you can grab, if we had improved our set pieces by just 3%, that would have put us in the top 8 last season. That adds to the value of the club. Moving up 3 or 4 places is worth millions.